sorry about that. Hi guys. I just want to do a little witchy check-in update right now because I'm not sure I'm going to manage the rest of the day. And, it's confusing and things, but good news, yes. I have received intelligence that my, what was it, declaration for my inheritance for my mother back in the day, 24 years ago, has been found. So they actually managed to get themselves into the attic and into the boxes where that stuff was kept. So that's great because I do not need to prove anymore that I am my mother's only daughter in this inheritance business. Whatever else is going to come of it, I will just have to wait and see. And at least I am really relieved, But I've been so messed up over this, over the past 2 months and talking to my dad and all the rest of it. I'm having coffee and I was having a bit of jazz music on this very same phone. So that's, off for now because I have to listen to myself talk and, there you go. I thought I just have to go into that. I've done a bit of journaling and it's funny really because I grew up with the other one of the two tyrants. Sorry, Mum, but yeah. And what happens is that even though my dad really doesn't, it's just his way, really. The way I've described him to you, to some of you guys. If you haven't seen me talk about that, all of this isn't going to make any sense to you. He's been, a bit narcissistic, and but he's old, and he's always gotten away with this way of treating people, especially women, and he's just trying this out on me to see how I react, and I don't react well to this stuff because I grew up with somebody who was completely traumatized by this very same man and who'd ended up in an institution for the mentally unable. And I grew up with a very great fear of being called crazy, being whatever that means, being mentally unfit or, less of an agent and less of less of a sovereign person. And all this has been, I guess it's been really interesting to think about these things nowadays, especially since I've got a lot more room to think about the things. And it's what I'm sensing, basically what I'm also trying to convey here, because I grew up with the other one of the two tyrants, who was much more an authoritarian figure in her way of behaving towards me, which had good sides as well, because I tend to, do whatever suits me at the time. And I would never have learned all the things if I hadn't grown up with her. That's a fact, okay? But there was this whole issue of authority over me so I cannot help but interpret whatever my dad throws at me now as the same type of judgment. They're telling me I'm no good, so that gives me hell. It just drives me nuts. And I just wrote this down in my journal, and I was looking at my cards on the table and I was having my coffee, and I thought, okay, I might just as well do a little vlog again because, I just have to keep in touch with you guys. I tend to, even at the moment, because I'm also PMT and all that, and it's raining and it's dismal and it's not the Christmas holidays yet, so I'm kind of lonesome. And then there's all the Venus double bind business going on, because there's a bit of a tale to that as well. Oh my God, I might just as well come out and just do this verbally as much, maybe potentially some of you guys out there can actually, either relate or, here's to you. Anyway, whatever. So, feeling judged, even when that's not the case, when I know objectively that I'm not being judged, I'm being described, if you like. Because my dad doesn't really have any power over me. He would be the first to say that. which I appreciate. Can you see that I had my hair done? And there's a dark streak in here. Isn't that cute? I like it. It used to be red now, and now I let my hairdresser do the picking of the colour. This is the... I'm trying... It's so dark in here. It's a wonder you can actually see me. I've got all the lights in my house on, almost. So, I'm feeling judged. It makes me feel horrible. I feel squashed and flattened. And then there's PMT. And the good news about the, upcoming, whatever it is, inheritance, millions in a house with, I don't know how many acres of land. I'm inventing, okay? This is just fantasy. I will have to see what gives. And I'm just so flattened that I can't really even just, feel happy about, okay, this is resolved. Everything's resolving and we're cool, really. I can sort of tell myself and then maybe, slowly. Ugh. Then on top of all that, there's this Venus double bind business. I have to just, update you guys on that slightly. Because understanding, it's all about really also what goes on in here, right? Not only in this one, but in all the ones. Because between me and husband, it's like it's a whole new world. Having formulated, if that's a word, yes, I think, put into words, right, and expressed and accepted and acknowledged and validated, whatever you want to call those, this codependency kind of a thing, it just gives us a whole lot of freedom all of a sudden. We're so comfortable together when we're together, which isn't at the moment because he's off to the office and I'm here doing my things. So inside, there's also this great big question mark, like, where is he? And I'm sure he feels the same way because we're tiny, we're toddlers. We're toddlers. It's hopeless. We'll never grow up. So it's kind of like a whole process. All these videos of mine, it's like an inverse growing up kind of a process, or growing down back to your child self, if you like. And then this is what comes out. It's great when we're together. We're having great fun and we can share all sorts of things. And we're helping each other out with things as we always have. And so it feels really good. And it's like there's a whole new level of comfort and trust made available to both of us in this. So there's the positive side to the Venus double bind. And I think there's a great big positive side to any and all astrological, knobs and bolts and screws and things. I think so. Yeah. The challenge of life is you can use astrology to help yourself out as to how it all hinges around each other, kind of a thing. And then sometimes just getting that is actually helpful, just like it was for us now. And then sometimes it takes a bit more work, or you have to figure out how to go about this. And it all depends on who you really are. And astrology can help you with that, but it isn't the final problem solver. You still have to do the self-acceptance and the self-love and all that. But I would have gone nuts without astrology. So there's that. Other things, this is going to be just a kind of a witchy check-in. I haven't really gotten back to my alchemy and mysticism book as yet because of all the turmoil, but I will certainly go back to that. I will go for a walk later today. I was first planning on taking you guys along outside in the rain and do my chatting, but I'm going to make even less sense than I do at the present moment. So I will just have to, put the things in the different chapters as, neatly as possible. What we did, other than, what I've already said, I have used, again, our Rumi Oracle. These are my husband's cards of yesterday, and it's only any use to you if you really know the deck, of course. Oops, I just threw 2 of those cards down. pick them up later. And this was my card about dissolving light. It's a really pretty deck that I trimmed myself. That's upside down, sorry about that. And it's got really gorgeous cards, and it's a bit glossy, but and the cardstock is fine. It's not, but nothing really special. I took this back out again after not having worked with this for quite a while, because it's a bit hard for me to really understand or feel completely comfortable with this Sufi vibration. I don't know enough about the Sufi vibration, and I should have done more reading, and I didn't, so that kind of a thing. There are parts of this that I just don't really get the references, and I just don't completely, here it says, for example, this is a Blood Angel card. I hope you can make that out in the darkness that we're having. I don't know what that means really. I can imagine and feel what it means, kind of, but not in any detail or not with any references. However, yesterday evening, we sat and watched a fairly new deck that's come out. That's also an Alana Fairchild deck, just like this one. That's called the White Light Oracle, that I've had my eye on for a while now, because I've, just run into this and thought it was really pretty and beautiful, and kind of, getting the 1/2 kind of a vibe. I will stick the link to the review in the description for you to have a look at if you like that kind of a thing. And I just felt that, to me, even though I really appreciate the quality of the work on that deck, and I may still decide and get it, I don't know, when the money boat comes in, if ever, if that's what's going to happen, then I may still decide to get it. Also because I am also wanting definitely to, go and get the pocket edition of the Dreams of Gaia tarot, which is a slightly different system from regular tarots, and so it's all the more interesting to me. And those images are also really gorgeous, and I thought it would just work really well with the White Light Oracle together. That was, that just makes my whole world go happy. So that's the plan, kind of. I'm definitely going to get the pocket edition of the Dreams of Gaia, because they're also trimmed cards, and the cardstock is supposed to be really good and all that. So yeah, so that's gonna happen anyway. I'm still not completely sure about the White Light Oracle, but I was sort of hesitating in between those vibrations of those different oracle cards. And hang on a second, I'm going to pick up my cards because it's driving me crazy. So, where's the one? Yes. There's the other one. Gotcha. It's not that dirty down here, but still. I want everything to be in order. Yes, if possible. Oracle decks, different types of mysticism. I find this often quite a bit harder to work with, because you gotta have some type of a spread or some type of a really properly organized question for me. In order to get something out of it, you kind of have to put something into it. And that's always something I found hard to do. But yesterday, I could kind of ask my husband, can you pull a card for maybe just generally how you feel now? And what came out led to another card, and finally he picked a third card, and the whole thing just gave him, and me certainly also, more of a sense of this process that we've been going through, what with the Venus double bind question and all the way that changes perspectives. But he never had time, Monday and Tuesday, today's Wednesday, the 11th of December, by the way, to look at that again, to sort of come back to it, a couple of times a day, and to sort of mull it all over. And that's what came out of the cards, really, basically. It was like the cards were really good for that. The Rumi Oracle worked really well, And it looks like, to me, like I have to think beforehand, use my brain, to decide, okay, so I'm attracted to this particular deck at the moment because mysticism is cool as far as I'm concerned. I'm very much into that. It's very much meditation and some type of, divinity work if possible, and higher vibration type work and all that type of stuff. And then, so knowing, I have to know beforehand more or less what it is that I want with these cards. Otherwise, I'm not going to get it, right? So the cards work on that level, and I have to sort of get myself to that level in order to interact properly. I hope that makes any kind of sense. So good times with the Rumi Oracle, and I will, use it maybe another few times or so to, I found that interesting, that as long as I had the right approach, it worked beautifully. And without the approach, it doesn't work. So that's kind of funny. More deck stuff. I have been, some of you guys may have seen that I printed out a few, I'm going to get them for you, Shadowscapes Tarot Zoom In cards. So instead of taking the whole of the card that are really, long, tall cards, I did a cropping of the image. That's the devil right there. Hope you can see that. There's a character sitting inside the hill right there. Gotta have me some more coffee. It's the Ace of Pentacles, lizards and stuff. So I did a zoom, right? I just zoomed in this ratio, tall, so less tall than the cards are, a lot less tall. Broader cards, that size. I just zoomed into I think that's a page of cups right there. They're so beautiful. I love this so much, and I could I'm using these bigger versions now as bookmarks basically, and I was loving the imagery so much, and I could tell also that the deck needs to be complete. I need to do this, make the whole, make a whole set of something and see whether that still works out. However, I wasn't going to do like yards of printing. So here it comes again for the guys among you who like that kind of stuff. That's my Shadowscapes. And this is actually Judgment and the World. And I have got here a Queen of Pentacles. I will show you these three and I'll leave it at that, because otherwise you're going to go completely bonkers. That's the World card. So there isn't any writing on them yet. I will use white ink at the bottom, and I will probably put the titles in French, because that kind of feels like that to me. I will take off the sharp corners as well, just using my old nail scissors. That's the Queen of Pentacles, like that. I just thought that was really cute, and I spent quite a bit of time. The funny thing is, the other thing I will link in the description is a Hildegard von Bingen medieval choir music that I've been listening to, and I'm listening either to that, if I'm not listening to, any of the other ambient or jazzy or any of those. If I'm aiming for a bit of a higher vibration and work-like vibration, I will listen either to Greek Orthodox singing, chanting choirs, or this Hildegard von Bingen. And I was so amazed at how happy I was Monday afternoon, and it was pouring outside, and I was on the computer just selecting these images and, doing the cropping business, which has to be done, as well as it can be done. And sometimes you just have to, decide whether this turtle or this fish is going to come along or not on your crop. You cannot have all the animals, and it's a real shame. I've got, I think it's the 5 of Wands. I'll never be able to find that now. But that's got just so many foxes, and they're so gorgeous, and you just want them all. but you cannot make out this guy's expression or his posture in all that welter of, flurry of activity that's going on in these cards. So that's why I did this, because I wanted the zoom to, be able to just say, okay, this is where the action is actually. So for me, this is working. And I was surprised at how well the very churchy ambience of the Hildegard von Bingen chanting goes with the, as far as I'm concerned, utterly pagan, nature-based, imagery of this deck. So really cool. Just, to tell you about these things. I'm going to finish my coffee now, finish my bit of journaling. I hope you're all okay. And I am certainly going to be okay soon enough, whenever, especially when my hormones are kicking in, It's, I am over 50 and I'm finding that hormones are more and more turning out to be quite a bit of work. And my body doesn't like it anymore. It doesn't want to do it. And it just feels like I drag, and it's such a haul up the hill with the hormones and all of it. And I just have to redo my whole chemistry. I feel, like that. So I will be back probably Friday, because you're doing the sort of a 3 times a week kind of a session. And at least, I'm fine. I will come out of this. I'm not as, the great thing is there aren't really any more sources of tension at the moment. So all that's gone. I can just relax, and I just need to do that, and especially go outside. And whenever it stops raining, that's me going off for an hour in the streets and in the fields. Okay? So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you again soon. Okay? Ciao now.